Ricochet has given notice, Awful, that he intends to leave WWE when his current contract expires this summer. He's expected to be ridden out of WWE storylines very soon in advance of the contract expiration. Some people made the joke, what storyline? Also, Andrade just beat Ricochet for the Speed Championship, if you pay attention to that tournament format that they do on Twitter. Yeah, Ricochet leaving.
How's that going over anyway?
It was pretty good. They get millions and millions of views and stuff, right? But it's not like anyone's really talking about it. But ultimately, though, Awful, just your thoughts on Ricochet leaving WWE. Will Ospreay was saying, "Oh, I love Ricochet," and so obviously they talked behind closed doors because why was Ospreay just putting that shit out there? And obviously they were talking, and Ricochet's like, "Yeah, dude,
I'm coming over.
I guess he's just like, I'm gonna." And then he actually responded to one tweet, like he hasn't tweeted yet, but he responded to Ryan Satin, one of Ryan Satin's tweet. Yeah, they have no idea what I can do, or some shit like that. I didn't bookmark it. I should have, but ultimately, it's like Ricochet's going to go wrestle over here, probably in AEW, right? Will Ospreay was like, "Oh, I'd love to wrestle him, bruv." So obviously Will wasn't just talking out of his ass, and he knew that Ricochet was probably going to leave. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, but Samantha Irvin's his fiance," and it's like, so dude, wrestlers work different companies all the time. Like, that's not that big of a deal. But do you think, like, my prediction is Ricochet, I think this is good for him because anywhere else he goes in the world, he's going to be treated like top shit. And he'll make tons of money. And WWE, they're never going to make him world champ. And this is just going to give room for like another mid-card type whatever guy to come in and fill a slot and maybe get over more than him. So I don't see a negative in this. And it's not like the door's shut. It's not like he can never come back to WWE one day and finish his career. But now it got me thinking, if I'm going to X-Files it, okay, if I can. It got me thinking, well, is Tony Khan just going to actually job Swerve to Ospreay? Because no one gives a shit. All anyone's talking about is Ospreay versus Ricochet at All In or on the big stage now. Finally, we can see their flip match that they did in the video game match they did in Japan in 2016. We can see it now in AEW. Now I'm thinking that Tony Khan's really going to have Will Ospreay beat Swerve at Forbidden Door and then have Ricochet versus Ospreay at All In, because I think I could just see Tony Khan being a mark enough to do that. But I also don't see Ricochet just exclusively going to AEW, folks. So anyone wondering what your boy Phil thinks, I don't think Ricochet will just stay in AEW like exclusively. I think he will like go to Japan, go to TNA. I think he'll just go, but you wanted like a Mustafa Ali.
Who is it exclusive to AEW? They go everywhere.
Exactly.
Allows them to go everywhere.
And so so my prediction is he leaves, he just shows up all over the place. We see him have a match in MLW, like he's one of those guys who floats all over, gets a huge bag everywhere. But then I do see him wrestling at AEW like regularly or frequently, but I don't see him signing there full time. Because if he does, man, I think he knows too, like what's going to happen. He's just going to be floundered and buried. He'll have one good match against Ospreay, whatever. Then they'll just do nothing with him. So I see him floating around working for a bunch of different places, and I'm actually pumped for him. I think this is one of those guys where it's good for everybody. He'll go make more money outside of WWE, get treated like a top guy, and have creative freedom outside of WWE, which is what he wants in WWE. And then WWE.
Hold up, Phil. Time out.
Yeah.
What makes you think that he's going to get more money? Isn't Tony Khan strapped for cash?
No, not when it comes to.
I thought he was broke.
No, not when it comes to signing guys that he's a mark for, like Ricochet. He'll sign them for. He's got infinity bucks for that. And what I'm saying is that he'll get more money by, like, if he just does like a one-off or a few dates for TNA, they'll give him a bunch more money. Do you know what I mean, dude? If he goes to AEW, Tony's gonna give him a load of money, and he's gonna get to fight Edge for the TNT title or whatever.
Here's your chance, Tony. Here's your chance to sit down a WWE guy behind the desk and look at him straight in the eye and be like, "What can you give to me? What can you give to me? Can you bring in 40,000 more viewers to the program?
No,
can you give to me one extra ticket in sales? If not, Here's $60,000 a year, God, and you're gonna have to work your way up for it. Seriously, that's how Tony needs to be running this business.
I tweeted out that I don't want to hear no talk about Ricochet is going to be a game changer, or oh look, Ricochet didn't draw no viewers, because no one's ever expected that from him in WWE or anything, man. All we expect from him is to put on good, like, holy shit moments on a TV show. He's like the flippy match not break, but like he's the guy
so
who
flip it and make it and put it on Rampage. I mean, my goodness.
No. Well, like AEW, I'm just saying, like WWE, bro. Like, I don't know if you've ever been to a WWE show, but Ricochet comes out and like fans love his shit. Women love watching him flip around and shit. Like for live shows and for the show. Like, dude, you can't lie. I'm sure you enjoy flippy shit sometimes too. It just can't be the whole goddamn card is flippy, false finish, flippy. It's like Ricochet's good for that. He can put that match on for WWE. So he was never supposed to be like a ratings grabber or a game changer. I've never viewed him as a guy. He's just supposed to be that guy who comes in and does some crazy shit and you go, oh my God, that was awesome. You know, you remember that flippy guy, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like, I don't want to hear like him go to AEW and then AEW contrarians come out and go, oh, look, Ricochet couldn't draw. Like, and I don't want to hear no AEW fans either going, Ricochet's a game changer, because like he's neither of those things, you know. We just want to, you know, I'm just happy he's gonna go, you know, put on great matches. He's that guy where it's like, oh, Ricochet, he just puts on the great match, you know what I mean, like where he flips.
We've gone 2 minutes talking about how Ricochet puts on a great match. Not 1 second devoted to his terrible promos. Not 1 second devoted to his.
Don't let him talk. Give him a manager. Like I'm not talking about give him the
so he can mean mug with his same face. Give me a. Listen. He's great. Okay, he's great for the opening match. That's about it,
bro. When he was Prince Puma in Lucha Underground, he was the
Underground
because he didn't talk. He wore a mask and he was the shit, and he had a manager and everything. That's all I'm telling you, bro. Like, and
he was in a locker room full of people who could do the same thing that he could do.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, man, I don't know. I really love Ricochet. I've been a fan of his for a long time. He was a guy that I saw in Indies as a scrawny little fucking dude. And I was like, that. And I would point to Ricochet literally, and I would go like, and I'd tell my friends or whoever, like, yo, this guy's the type of indie guy that'll never make it in WWE or anything like that. I used to genuinely think that. I was like, look, he's just so scrawny. He's just doing these moves because he can do them. Bro, fast forward all these years later, I'm a huge fan of his. He's an Intercontinental champ. I don't know. Shout out Ricochet, and he's going to do good, I guess, against Ospreay or wherever he lands. We know he's doing that Ospreay match for $1 million. So Awful, I want your thoughts on Ricochet. Where does he land? Etc. etc. I babbled for 2 minutes. I want your thoughts. You babble for 2 minutes.
Well, let's hope he doesn't land on his head anytime soon. But one of the things that we should have, I'm not a naysayer, Robbie C. Get out of here. What I'm saying is that Ricochet, if you're listening, buddy, because everybody listens to PWT apparently. If you're listening, do a 6-month contract. There you have it. 6 months, and then go to New Japan or TNA or GCW or Stardom or Marigold, wherever you want to go. But don't land a long-term contract with AEW, my friend. I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's a good warning, man. It is a good warning. Tony will book Ospreay versus Ricochet within the year, and Awful, it's AEW. He doesn't need to be a good promo. Look at Mercedes. Ooh.
That's true.
Dude, here's the thing. Exactly. He doesn't need to be a good promo. And yeah, I think they're going to really fuck Swerve, and they're going to take that belt off him sooner than later, and we're going to get Ricochet, Ospreay all in Wembley. That's because Tony Khan's such a mark.
What did you just say? Did you say Ricochet versus Ospreay at Wembley?
Yeah, dude. This is what I think Tony Khan's going to do. He's going to have Swerve lose to Ospreay at Forbidden Door. And then I think we get Ospreay Ricochet at all in Wembley. Because
and he's pushing MJF right out of that picture, huh? Give me a break. It's going to be Will Ospreay versus MJF if they're smart.
Right.
If they're smart, but you're right. Swerve,
because I just think Tony's such a mark that Tony thinks that, oh, if I can take that match they did in Japan where they did all the flips, and if I put it on the big stage, and it's not the big stage. That's the thing that they don't get, man. That's the fucking thing. Like, like they seem to think, and Jim Cornette tried to warn everyone about this. Like Tony thinks that if he just showed everyone, oh, if I put them on TBS and there's 1 million viewers and I show everyone the Young Bucks, they'll all be like, oh, what's this new thing, and fall in love with this indie wrestling or whatever. Like that's what they think. And Tony thinks that if he puts on Ospreay Ricochet on a big stage where they do that same match, like the masses will fall in love. But then at the same time, these dummies are going, oh, the numbers don't matter, and the viewership, I don't care how many people watch wrestling, and I don't care what the attendance is, and I don't care. I was listening to 83 Weeks, and Conrad Thompson's doing his thing. He's talking about AEW, and he does the same thing. Oh, come on now, Eric. And he goes, well, a healthy AEW is good. A healthy AEW is good for everybody. It's good for the whole business, Eric. Oh, come on now, Eric. And he's just like, a healthy AEW is good for the business. And I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, is it really though? Like, what's healthy? Like a healthy AEW, sure, but like what has been good for the business is that like Tony Khan just giving wrestlers a shitload of money. Like that's all it's
that's all it is.
In
fact, all the wrestlers will say the same thing.
It hasn't done anything for TV ratings. It hasn't done anything for attendances. It hasn't done anything to develop new talent. It hasn't made any stars. It hasn't made any movie stars. It hasn't made any household names. It hasn't put WWE on its back foot. It's hurt other federations in some ways. There's a wrestling boom going on, but AEW's the only federation organization not feeling the effects of it. So it's like, what did it really do? Because all the people who would watch AEW, if AEW didn't exist, they would still, the same amount of people that watch it would go get their fix other places anyways, dude. That's the whole thing. It's like, and these are the same people, mind you, who goes, well, the TV ratings and fuck the attendance. None of that matters. So those same people getting pro wrestling on what? Like there's no house shows. They don't do house shows. They're not training. They're not doing any of this. So they don't run indie day. So what is AEW doing? It's a television show, but the people who watch the show are all saying the television numbers and the attendance. We don't give a we just want to see good matches. Well, you could already see good matches in Ring of Honor and New Japan and all these. You could already go see good like you could already go see the crazy spots in GCW and all over the place. Awful. You could already see this wrestling in Japan in these matches. You could already see this. So all Tony did was take this shit and put it on TNT, which is great. And I go, that's great. And then like, yeah, if it's healthy, that's great. It's all great. But they don't care. But the people, just let me get this off. The people who AEW being on TNT and all this shit is so great, right? But the people consuming it all say they don't give a fuck that it's even on there, and fuck you if that you care if the TV ratings, blah blah blah. And fuck you about the attendances. Attendance doesn't matter. So the people watching it don't care even that it's on TNT. They don't care if the houses are big or not. So how is it actually healthy, or how is it good for the business if they're doing the business they're doing now and they're not making a change to make it get any bigger? Like, I'm so tired of everybody going like, no, we want it to succeed, and it's actually good if AEW is doing good. How is it doing good? And we're going to talk about it as the title of the video. Tony Khan loves sickos. He loves the sickos and the weirdos. And it's like, what good is it really doing? Like other than just giving wrestlers a load of money, which I'm all for giving legends and people in general a load of money. I want everyone to live happy, healthy, comfortable lives for sure. But like he admits too, like Tony comes out a day later after I'm having these thoughts and goes, the sickos. And it's like, so if you're just catering to these, so the sickos are the people who don't give a fuck about your ratings or the attendances or anything. So they would just go find the wrestling.
No, they're not supposed to. That's Tony Khan's job.
Exactly. But the problem is like, he just comes out and goes, I am catering to those because I'm one of them. And I da. And so it's like, dude, I'm not saying everyone needs to run a charity, but there's kids starving. And you people, if you want to really boil this down, are down with this billionaire just wiping his ass, flushing money down the toilet. And you're death threatening and doxing and going crazy on people. These fucking bot accounts, Real One, all these people have literally lost their minds and credibilities and everything over this company that literally the guy comes out and is like, no, I'm catering to the people who are actively rooting for this demise, who actively don't give a shit if I sell one ticket, who say no, fuck you if you care about the TV ratings, even though all I'm chasing is TV ratings, because all this is a TV show. And if AEW's healthy, all that means is what? Like, okay, if they're healthy, okay, so like big attendances and big TV ratings, but the people who watch it and the people that he comes out and says that he is one of and that he's catering to the most, they don't even care about that. They don't. I know I'm repeating myself, but it's like I just can't. Like, you guys got to understand, this drives me mad, and it's like this is why
calm down, man.
The asshole trying to put AEW over, because it fires back in my face, because these people really are fucking have it all backwards. And as much as I want to go, well, no, just give it a chance, you can't. You know what I mean? Like, Jim Cornette was right. You know what I mean? Like, the whole time, Awful's been right the whole time. You know, there's no fucking rationalizing. There's no way to go, well, maybe if they just, no, he doesn't care. They don't care. And they don't care. If this goes off TV, it's just going to be on like Tubi, and Tony Khan's going to run it out of his backyard if he has to. But
there's a third party negotiating the WBD deal with AEW, and I don't know who brought that about, but I'm sure they called Tony up the next day like, what the fuck are you doing, man? What? Listen, put down your phone, man, and just, I don't know, go to your big mansion and write good television or something, but please stay the off Twitter. That comment was just so disjointed, and it plays right into the whole these extremist views about AEW. This guy spurs on that type of environment, and can't nobody tell me otherwise.
Right. And so Tony Khan, like, just the tweet in question, I book wrestling. Oh, I book wrestling for the sickos because that's what I am. And that's,
and who asked the question? That's what I'd like to know. Who asked that question to where he answered? Or was this just like some thought in his head while he was sniffing and came up with this idea like, you know what? I think I'm going to have an argument with people. I'm going to say, yeah, like, come on. Yeah, I can't do the Tony Khan, so I'm just going to
you do your own thing, man. But I raged, guys. Chat, I'm sorry too. I just snapped. But it's like, this has got to be said. Like, what are we? What and Conrad Tom? Oh, come on now, Phil. Come on now, Phil. That's not fair. That's not fair, Eric. How can you say that about AEW when they're trying so hard? And might I interest you in some car insurance? You know, man, I'm just tired of this whole like, well, a healthy AEW is good for the business now, Eric. Like, I'm just so tired.
Phil, when has AEW to you? When has it been healthy?
At the start, it was very healthy. I think that paying someone, like if you're an upstart and you're going to pay someone like Jericho $5 million a year, you're going to give, it's an upstart and you're going, Kenny's the guy we're going to build. We're going to bank on him. Let's pay him like a star. I'm cool with that. I'm okay with all of that, right? Like at the start, it was really good. And it was doing like 1 million in the ratings. It was doing,
it was 1.2, 1.4.
Dude, it was, and the TV was better. Even back then, like the little things they f***ed up on, you gave it, like they did a weigh-in, for instance, and it was a little different. And it was like with Jericho and Cody or whatever early on, and it was a little shoddy, but it was a little, you give it a pass though, because you're like, well, watch a UFC weigh-in. I've watched weigh-ins where like the guy almost kicks the scale off the stage by accident. Like it's it made it feel live, and like I can't miss this live. Like I remember the fan tried to hit the ring on MJF and Jericho and all that, and the security was on them and shit, like right instantly. And it felt like a big deal. And it was a sport and anything could happen. Like it felt like the old Raw and stuff like that. And once the pandemic hit, even the pandemic, when the pandemic first started, dude, I was like, no, AEW has got it right. Like they put the wrestlers around the ring sort of in kayfabe, and like, the wrestlers are going to sit around the ring and play cards or watch the matches, and they're, like even that, I was like, that's innovative, that's different. WWE's not doing that. They have Stone Cold out there doing ironic segments with empty chairs. So
yeah. AEW's catering room has a bigger audience than the actual audience that's watched the show.
Like now, and then they lost the plot. Like during that pandemic era, it was just Tony completely lost himself. Cody left the company because he saw the writing on the wall. Everyone saw the writing on the wall. You know, Punk came in, they had a second chance, they fumbled it.
Damn,
when
Jesus
Punk came
Christ.
when Punk came back the second time again, it was already like hopes out the window. But then like his second return, and we're like, damn, dude, they made Collision. Maybe we get the Elite versus Punk and all this, like what everyone wants. No, they fumbled it. They didn't do it again. So they had another opportunity, and it's like 3 strikes, you're out, my friend. 3 strikes and you're out, Tony. Like you fucked up, and he just fucked up too many times. He lost that goodwill. He didn't do things sports-based. WWE started beating him to that. WWE's way more sports-based than AEW is. And yeah, it really stresses me out that Tony Khan comes out and goes, I book wrestling for the sickos because that's who I am. And then he tweets up like, wake up the bots and tell them that we're having fun over here in AEW.
Well, you better, Tony Khan better come up with the Sicko Network because WBD is not going to be having that type of atmosphere going on for too much longer.
Yeah, man. And like Tony's been caught, like him and Meltzer, like they've been caught with bots, like supporting their goddamn. I pointed it out extensively on this show numerous times to where my listeners don't want to hear about it anymore because I've covered how the reason Tony talks about bots is because he uses fucking bots. I broke this shit down. And then him saying like, oh, I cater to the sickos. Well, Tony, the sickos. So basically what he's saying is no, fuck all the day ones who want this to be good. Fuck the Phil Marxes and the people who are like trying their best, because these sickos are the people who actively, this is who the sickos are, Tony. They're the people who actively turn on every wrestler who doesn't want to work for you. So you're endorsing them. So you're a little petulant bitch who's turning on every wrestler. Deep down, you're offended when people don't want to work for you. What about the people who don't re-sign that you ghost, Tony, that they turn on too? So the people who were critical of the CMLL and, oh, no, that's rumors from day. No, turns out it's all true. And all the people saying, oh, shut the fuck up and the Lucha Bros and all them, like whatever, CMLL guys. You're advocating for them. You're advocating for the people who go, we don't care about the TV rating. And we don't care about your pay-per-view buys, and we don't care about the attendances as long as I get my matches. Tony, that's who you just come out and go, nope, this is who I stand behind. So it's like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like I'm it's just at that point for me, it's like, all right, dude, I'm just gonna forever clown you. I've already done it for so long, but it's just like
Tony Khan doesn't know how to build an audience. I've not once ever seen anything on that program geared towards children. And that's what the business mission of WWE always has stood on.
Oh, we're not geared towards children. Blood and guts, and John Moxley's very cool, and I like to see people have seizures and people drink blood, and I love it. It's great.
Yeah, I mean that's what he needs to be focusing on. He needs to grow a generation of AEW fans. The ones that he's got now, they're not fans. They're sycophants. They're people who are not going to really show you any brand loyalty. Children, they show brand loyalty. If you raise up a Darby Allin, if you raise up, I'm just naming names, people, Sammy Guevara or whatever, you've got to have some sort of child-friendly product. Not saying the whole goddamn 2-hour show needs to be Disney World, but at the same time, you got to bring in those young folks in. It's not enough that one guy is this height or wears a certain type of face paint, or he does flippy flops. You got to have more than that. You got to have it on a week-to-week basis. And Tony just doesn't know how to book past the 5-week mark. I've always said that. He doesn't know how to do it.
Yeah. And then
it's
you see
aggravating that motherfucker's got so much money.
I know, dude. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. And so
industry 20 years behind.
For real, dude. And like not being innovative in anything, like just doing old shit that he's already seen.
Yeah. Bro, 2 things that stuck out to me that WWE came in the middle of the night and snatched right up. 2 things. One was the drone shots.
Yeah, the camera work. Like,
bro, I don't know why Tony Khan did not pick up on that.
When Kevin Dunn was f***ing up for years, Tony could have did something new, and he didn't. He just copied them.
The second thing,
go ahead. Sorry.
Tony Khan is an NFL executive. Why the hell did he not produce his own wrestling belts to dole out to all these other teams before WWE got to him? WWE at the time was just sending out their world championship, and he didn't have any sort of flair or Like it was crazy. Aaron Rodgers holding the world. What is he? The world heavyweight champion of wrestling?
Yeah.
No,
But it's because Tony Khan wanted wrestler cards because WWE did that, and he wanted
quit following. Start innovating.
Yeah, he wanted cards, and he wanted to do a video game because WWE did that, and then he wanted to do toys, even though WWE has that whole market cornered, even for legends, and then the people who don't like even like the indie talents had that market cornered and still do better than AEW. Ethan Page's, who's in NXT, mind you, his figures sell better than Chris Jericho's AEW figures.
Right,
the ones that Ethan Page makes himself sell better than Chris Jericho's do for AEW. You understand what I'm saying? So this is like Jim Cornette figures sell better than AEW figures, right? So like he wanted to do all the stuff WWE already did instead of innovate anything. The last thing on Tony Khan's silliness. So basically the last tweet he had during his meltdown is he tweets out this match, Kyle O'Reilly and Orange Cassidy. This guy quote tweets and says, "Reminder, so these are one of the sickos. Tony Khan is best booker when we bully him to be so. These are one of the sickos." And then Tony goes, "I also respond well to positive reinforcement."
You certainly.
And then here's real one. "You're the best king. Keep cooking." Keep cooking, king. It's like, bro, you guys, and then it's like, what is this booking here?
Real one.
Yeah, Orange versus O'Reilly, gonna set the world on fire. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, this isn't even a good. No one cares about this match. It's nothing. It'll do a 300,000 rating, and you're catering to these sickos who want to bully you, Tony, openly. It's just gross and weird. That's our Tony segment. Sorry, what were you going to say?
No, I'm done. I'm done. Now that you're done with Tony, I'm done with Tony too.